But after that, Jesus was crucified. This is what we all know and are remembering, but let me share with you what actually happened. Historians believe that this crucifixion was such a well-orchestrated torture device that as this person died, they actually died from not being able to breathe. They suffocated to death. Who's ever almost suffocated to death? Raise your hand. That is like the most devastating, scary thing on the face of the planet. I have a tendency of eating too much. All right, my wife gets on to me almost every time when we have lasagna or something like that. I'm just like, there's food, it will enter my body, and it doesn't matter how many times I chew it. I know the doctors say chew it 7 million times or whatever. I'm just saying chew it once, swallow, and you're done, right? There are many times, and actually it happened this last weekend. I didn't tell my wife because I know she'd get on to me, but sitting there eating the food, and then it's like, can't breathe. So by the way, don't ever do this because it makes it worse. I grabbed a soda that was sitting next to me filled with bubbles, and I started to drink it, and then all of a sudden the bubbles started to come out of my nose because it was stuck. You laugh, it wasn't fun. But in reality, I thought I was going to die for that split second. I was not going to tell my wife. She'd see a corpse over here before I told her that I did that again. But the suffocating is what Jesus actually died from. It wasn't the scourging, even though that could have killed him. It wasn't the nails in his hands and his ankles that could have killed him, yes. It was suffocating with not being able to breathe. But how could Jesus breathe on this cross? Well, historians, when they actually study it, actually believe that there were almost trees on pathways. So this skull, Golgotha, was probably a thoroughfare getting from a city to town, almost a thoroughfare. And there were living trees that were along that path. Living trees. And at the moment of these living trees, they would hang these people on the tree by a post that was already there and ready to go. So the base was already in place, which was a tree. And the tree was very close. It was almost from here to the ceiling here. If you're online, it's really close. So they could actually see it. Jesus wasn't so far away. It was intimate death. Why? Because the Romans did not want people to be misled that if you go against Rome, you go against us, that is you. So here is Jesus intimately dying on this cross. And we can tell that it's intimate. Why? Because Jesus on the cross looks down and says, talks to Mary and John and says, behold your son, behold your mother, and have this intimate conversation on the cross. Why? Because again, Rome knew what they were doing. So historians, again, believe with all their heart, and we'll talk about this in just a few seconds, that it was not in their palm within inside of itself. It was actually, the nails in their hands was actually right here on the wrist. If you actually feel your wrist, you'll be able to feel the two bones coming up that can hold the weight of what did Jesus have to do to breathe? Pulling up on the nails that were placed in his wrist so that he could what? Breathe. And historians believe that the tree trunk was right between their legs. He was not crisscross in the legs, but he was crisscross spread eagle on the tree, and the nails would go through the Achilles tendon, a strong tendon, to be able to hold up the body. So I don't know about you, but if you've ever hurt your Achilles tendon, that hurts. Imagine being pierced through. Why? You will find out in just a second that after Jesus took his last breath, his bones were not broken. Not a single bone in Jesus' life, even to death, was broken. If you even feel your hands, if you put a nail between your hands, it will break some bones. If you put nails in your feet, it would actually break the bones in his feet. By doing this, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus, no matter what, was an